Everybody knows that this revolution is coming. And that means that many millions of workers in the private sector are going to be displaced. If Musk can simply throw out onto the street, for no decent reason, hundreds of thousands of federal employees, what do you think they're going to do when robotics and artificial intelligence comes? They're going to replace those workers and they're going to throw them out on the street as well. This is a prelude to what they're going to do in the private sector. Now, I happen to believe that technology unto itself is not a bad thing. If it can result in increased worker productivity, that's great. But what we want to make sure is that workers benefit from that worker productivity increase. We don't want CEOs all over this country to say, hey, we got a machine to replace you. We don't need you anymore. You're out on the street. Now, what we are up against is not only the incredible greed of the billionaire class, we're up against something that we really have never experienced in this country. And I'm not gonna stand up here and tell you with a straight face that politicians never lie. Never stretch the truth a little bit. Occasionally that happens. But what we're up against right now, and this is enormously important, is we're up against a phenomenon that we have never seen, and that is the big lie. The big lie is not just stretching the truth. The big lie is not just fibbing. The big lie is creating a parallel universe, a set of ideas that either have no basis in reality or in the great scheme of things are nowhere near the most important concerns that the American people have. What some of these people on the right are doing is saying outrageously false statements. They say it over and over again, and then they have the right-wing social media blast it out to hundreds of millions of people until people actually believe it. And then, rather than having the kinds of discussions and debate that we should have in a democratic society, what are the issues? You have your view, I have my view, let's debate, let's come up to some consensus, or we'll vote on it, whatever it may be. We spend half our lives trying to refute outrageous lies. Let me just give you a few examples, which you're familiar with. Trump claimed that the 2020 election was stolen from him, and that he won by a landslide. A lie. All of you remember that terrible January 6th insurrection where they tried to prevent. Well, Trump claimed that that was a day of love, and by the way, pardoned all of those insurrectionists. Trump has claimed that millions and millions of undocumented people vote in American elections. A lie. Trump has claimed that climate change is a hoax originating in China. A lie. And very recently, Trump has claimed that Ukraine started the horrific war in Europe. This is. A couple of months ago, and I was involved in this, there was what we call in Washington a continuing resolution, a CR, keep the government going. And people, Democrats and Republicans, worked together for months. And we had, on the chairman of the Health Education Committee, a lot of provisions in there which would have cut the cost of prescription drugs, would have expanded healthcare, et cetera, et cetera. We were involved in that debate. Anyhow, months and months of discussion, debate, arguments. Finally, an agreement was reached. Literally the day before that was going to be voted on and passed in the House, Mr. Musk sent out on Twitter emails that said there was a 43% increase in salaries for members of Congress. Tell your member of Congress not to vote for it. They're going to get a 43% increase. A total lie. It was a 3.4 inflation. That's all it was. Percent increase. Total lie. And as a result of what Musk did and the emails that he sent out, Republicans refused to go forward, and that bill died. And it doesn't stop. If some of you have heard Trump's State of the Union speech, he claimed he picked up on something that Musk had started, and that is, you all heard, millions, zillions of people who are 200, 150 years of age, 500 years of age, they're all receiving Social Security benefits. All right. I got two questions. Why would he do that? What is the thing? No? What is, if you say to people, the average American, you know, that Social Security system is really corrupt. You got all these people at 200 years of age, they're getting it, it's all corrupt. What is the goal? All right, I can raise one person, raise their hand, I can't hear anybody. Yeah. It's right, yes. Yes. What else you got? Yep. That's right. All right. All of this stuff is to tell you, give up on your government. Government can't do anything. It's all fraud. Social Security is broken. It's fraudulent. Medicare, Medicaid, it's all. And if you do that, what is the end result? The privatization of everything. You're going to give all this stuff over to large corporations. So the truth is that well over 99% of Social Security checks are going out to the people who earned those checks. 70 million people. And nobody who is 150 or 200 gets a Social Security check. Absolute lie. Now, the purpose of all this lying is not just to push his right-wing ideology. It's more than that. It is, and this is big stuff that we got to stay on. What they are trying to do is deflect attention away from the real issues, the very serious issues that the working class of this country is facing. And those are issues that Musk and Trump do not want to address because it's not in their financial interest to do so. So, as a case in point, Trump gave his State of the Union speech. It went on for about 28 hours, I don't know. It was the longest State of the Union, I think it was 100 minutes. And in his 100 minutes, this is what is extraordinary. It's not what he said, it's what he didn't say. He spoke for over an hour and a half, and he almost completely ignored the issues that are keeping working families up at night as they worry about how they are going to survive in these very difficult times. So let's do something radical. You ready to do something radical? Yeah. Let's do what President Trump did not do. Let us take a real look at what is going on in America today, okay? All right. We are the richest country. We are the richest country in the history of the world. But you know what? 60% of our people are living paycheck to paycheck. Now, unlike Trump, I grew up in a family that lived paycheck to paycheck, and I know a little bit about that, as I expect many of you do. So what does living paycheck to paycheck mean? Tell me. Raise your hands. It'd be loud. Yes, right here. It means surviving. How you survive. Yes. It means little money. What does it mean? Yes. Stress. Hold it one at a time. Yeah. Survival. Exhaustion. Like fear. Fear of what? A fear of everything. What? Medical care. Yes, ma'am. No money for emergencies. Yes. Making difficult choices. Ma'am. Okay. All right, right there, yeah. No future. All right. Here is the reality. And I think you've all said it in a few minutes. Millions of Americans today are wondering how they're going to be able to pay their rent and what happens if the landlord raises their rent. What do they do? Rents are going up all over the country. What do you do if the landlord raises your rent? You got to move? Where are you going to move to? You got to take your kid out of school? Where's it going to go? She's going to go. People are worried that your child or your parent becomes sick. You can't afford to take that person to a doctor, or you cannot afford the prescription drugs that your mom or your kid may need. What's going on today in America is people are worried just something as simple, as basic. Your car breaks down. You got an old car, right? Your car breaks down. And the guy at the repair shop says it's going to cost you $1,000 to get it fixed. Now what happens if you don't have the $1,000? You can't get your car fixed. If you can't get your car fixed, you can't get to work. If you can't get to work, you're going to lose your job. If you lose your job, how are you going to survive? That's because millions of people don't have $1,000 in the bank. In America today, and this is a remarkable fact, it is not just that our life expectancy, you all know what life expectancy, how long we live. It's about 4 years shorter than people in other wealthy countries. And we should wonder why that is so. But here's something that is never talked about. Now I want to throw that out to you. I want you to digest it. If you are working class in this country, your life expectancy on average will be 7 years shorter than if you are wealthy. Do you all understand what that is about? That means that being working class in this country in many respects is like a death sentence. You're rich, you're going to live a long life, you're working class 7 years shorter. Why is that? Stress. All right. What stress is not some concept, oh, we're stressed out. Stress is a physiological reaction. And there is, doctors frame it as it's the disease of poor people who have to struggle every single day. Stress wrecks your body, and it has a terrible impact on your mind. If you have to worry every single day, how are you going to survive? How do I feed the kids? How do I pay the rent? What happens if I get a call that I have to be at work at midnight for the midnight shift? If you add all that together, people are living on pins and needles day after day, year after year. Stress kills. And in the richest country in the history of the world, millions of people should not have shorter lives than they otherwise should because of the economy that we have.